conclude by saying that it has been a great honor to serve as President of the Human Rights Council during 2025.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Lauber. Are there any questions in the room? Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this briefing on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association. Thank you.
All right, we did.
Major General retired Anthony Anderson. Major General retired Anthony Anderson will now make remarks. Ambassador.
Thank you, Tanisha, for that introduction. And certainly let me add my own thanks to our friends from the media for being here or joining online. We always appreciate the role you play in keeping our various publics informed and keeping these sorts of tragedies on the front burner and in people's view. I also want to thank the many persons who, for their overwhelming support to our nation at this time, and also to our diaspora here in the United States. Governments from across the world have reached out. Private sector companies, large NGOs, multilateral organizations, and individuals who care have all been reaching out in very material ways to support Jamaica in this time of need. So, ladies and gentlemen, it cannot be overemphasized that there is extensive damage in the western end of Jamaica, or in the western half of Jamaica is probably a better way of putting it. The country is suffering significantly at the moment, and even though we have launched a whole response mechanism, the response to a Category 5 hurricane with 180-mile-per-hour winds will strain, test, and probably overwhelm any response mechanism that you can put in place. However, if you do have these mechanisms in place, you stand a better chance of getting a more coherent and coordinated response. So, as was said, this happened on the 28th. And so, time is not on our side as we do the relief effort and the rescue effort in Jamaica. Because as days pass, people become more desperate. The needs grow and increase, and the concerns increase. What we do know is that we have also, apart from significant infrastructure damage, we have massive damage for homes and shelter, and also a lot of blockages of roads, of roadways, that of course impedes and inhibits the response to this disaster. So there are cut-off communities that we are making our way to. Reports are at the moment that we have actually 19 dead confirmed, and we're hearing about other probable deaths. And with this sort of disaster, as we go through it, and we start to clear rubble, as we access inaccessible places, as water starts to recede, that number is likely to go up. It's very important, therefore, that, as I emphasize, speed in the process of rescue and relief is significant. We fortunately have had some large NGOs coming to Jamaica before it even struck, and subsequently the relief supplies have been flowing in, and I'll give you some information on that. Our international airports were reopened on Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. Yesterday we had 13 cargo relief flights, plus some commercial flights and private flights coming into Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, which was less affected by the hurricane because it's in the east. Today we expect another 20 cargo flights, as well as by tomorrow morning at about 7 o'clock we should have Montego Bay Airport open so that persons who are stuck in Jamaica, tourists, etc., we can get them out. So we'll be getting them out starting tomorrow morning with commercial flights. So we'll be working 3 airports, 3 international airports, one in the center of the island, one in Montego Bay, one in Kingston, to get relief supplies in and as a response to what's going on. Of course, getting it in is the first step. Getting it to the people is the big part. A lot of the places that are cut off, we're going to have to use airlift to get them in. And I'll just say that at the moment, as we speak, we have helicopters arriving in Jamaica that were provided by the US government. And I believe it is 4 that have landed so far, and then I believe we have another 4 coming in later on or into tomorrow. Also from the US government, federal government, are, well, in conjunction with state teams, are 2 SAR teams, one that landed yesterday from Fairfax County, and then a SAR firefighter team out of LA coming in, I believe, later on today. The DART, the Disaster Assistance Response Team, arrived yesterday in Jamaica to start their work of assessment, to see what else is required, and to be able to reach back into the US government to see how we continue that support. From the US side, the mission side here, we have been reached out to by a number of members of Congress, members of state governments, all seeking to support us. And I really thank them, everyone who reached out and who want to provide this material support in our time of need. As the relief effort continues, it will be guided at 2 levels. At the highest level, at the political level, there is a relief and recovery committee of the cabinet that has been put together, led by 2 cabinet ministers, and they will be driving everything from that level. Below that, we have the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, which is the standing body that deals with these disasters. And then there's also a private sector coordination committee that has been established, led by one of our senators, to ensure that the activities of the private sector are so coordinated that we get the benefit of that as well. So there are layers. It's necessary for the coordination, but I just want to emphasize that some of the support we've gotten has been technical support as well. And this incident is too large, this disaster is too large and too severe not to reach out and take the best of what the world has to offer in terms of disaster logistics, disaster response, disaster relief, and ultimately disaster recovery. So we recognize that this is a difficult time for many places in the world. There are challenges here, and there are challenges across the world. And that makes it even more important. It makes it more searching for the right word here. But it emphasizes how when you have this kind of disaster, that is where you see the true humanity coming out. And and that's important. I know Jamaica as a country, we have deployed all over in support of other people who have had similar issues, and I guess we're getting some of it back now, and that's really, really great. Our diaspora here, we have perhaps 1.5 million people, Jamaicans, integrated throughout the United States society. They rally quickly, and they have ongoing support mechanisms to Jamaica, and they have ramped that up. We have charities that are working here and in Jamaica normally, and those have ramped up their activities as well, and all of that bodes well for us. We are a strong people, and we're resilient people. And as we transition, as the rescue continues, as the relief efforts get into high gear, as the supplies flow in, and we get them to the people in need, we'll see that resilience come into play. It is really the time for our diaspora and our allies, our friends to band together. And there are many ways in which people can support what we're doing. And there are banners to the side of me here, left and right, which is the official government way of donating funds. I must say that unfortunately in these things you end up with people putting up all kinds of sites hoping to trick people into donating to something that is really not going to go to Jamaica. It's donations that will go to them. Unfortunately, this always happens, so I'd advise people to be careful how they donate. There are so many certified good mechanisms to donate. If it just popped up yesterday, it probably isn't real. So the support jamaica.gov.jm, because there might be other endings on this. You might see support Jamaica at something else, but the .gov.jm, that is the official government of Jamaica site. Now, there are a number of people who normally give to various 501c3s here in the United States and support Jamaica. Those ones are still up and running. Some of them have put up pages to support Jamaica. Some of them are doing matching. Usually those ones, if you know them and have used them and you have relationships with them, then that's fine. I know there are all sorts of groups and people gathering things to send them down, and we appreciate it all. We are doing our best to coordinate our activities across the U.S. with our consulates and our honorary consuls. There are a series of drop-off points here for people who want to donate actual goods, And there's a mechanism for actually volunteering where we can look at the people and their skill sets, the volunteers and their skill sets, so that we have the appropriate people flowing into Jamaica, supporting at the right time. I'll just say that from my own experience in many, many disasters, having deployed many times on this sort of things, quite often, you know, enthusiastic volunteers are not necessarily the best volunteers. I mean, you need enthusiasm, but you need skills also. Otherwise, you can get a net burden on an already strained system. And that's why we ask that we know who's going in so that we can appoint people to what's best for their own skill sets. Now, I know a number of people who are going in anyway. That's good. Thank you, and thank you for what you will bring to it. As I say, supportjamaica.gov.jm. You can, a series of drop-off points it's on our social media, on websites, and again, perhaps you should, or I should, end in the same way I started. Thank you all. Thank you all. Jamaica thanks you for your response.
Hi, Ava Thompson with I just wanted you mentioned earlier there were 19.
All right, as you see, they're listed.
Donc, madame, monsieur, ou branchez réseau pour la Pstars FM radio et télévision, déjà à 27 minutes après 13 heures. C'était donc ambassadeur Jamaïque à Washington, D.C., qui t'avait fourni informations, détails autour de désastres Sahara qui frappaient le pays, la Jamaïque, qui a enregistré de nombreuses morts et un pile dégâts matériels faits, puisque pays a même inondé en bas la pluie, de l'eau montée en hauteur, donc la population a gagné en pile difficulté. L'ambassadeur fait que dit, they need everything, they need every single one of you, they need help. They start thinking the American government decided to help them with some helicopters. They're gonna open the airport in Montego Bay, working to other stuff. Donc c'est très bien. Mise en branle qui fait déjà bon côté gouvernement jamaïcain pour que il est capable de venir en aide à population qui est victime dans l'occasion. Donc c'est comme ça situation ça dit présenter pour le moment en pile travail à fait. Il y a pu mobiliser, gagner institution internationale qui a mobilisé autour pour capable aider à gouvernement jamaïcain à faire face à situation difficile que you connaît là. Red branché réseau n'a